everyone, welcome back to a new post today. Let's continue with the prelims for the important points for prelims 2025, and today is day 6 with regard to May 25th 2024. So the first most important issue that you need to keep track of for the prelims 2025 is about ICJ, that is the International Court of Justice now has ordered Israel to halt the operations in Rafah, and it is also called as World Court, and it's an international court that adjudicates general disputes between the nations and also gives advisory opinions along with international legal issues as well. It is one of the 6 main principal organs of the United Nations and is located in Hague in the Netherlands. Now, it is the successor of the Permanent Court of International Justice, or the PCIJ, which was established in 1920 by the League of Nations in the aftermath of the Second World War. Now, the League and the Permanent Court of International Justice were replaced by the United Nations ICJ. Let me tell you that Nagendra Singh was the president from India of the International Court of Justice in the year 1985, and presently we have Dalbir Bhandari serving as one of the 9 judges on the International Court of Justice, and his term extends up to 2027. So there are 3 more years to go for him. The next one is about the Genocide Convention. So the International Court of Justice is warning Israel to stop its actions in Rafah on the basis of the Genocide Convention of 1948. Let me tell you that we are a signatory to the Genocide Convention of 1948. It is the first human rights treaty adopted by the General Assembly of the United Nations on 9th December 1948, and it is the first legal instrument to codify genocide as a crime, and also the first human rights treaty unanimously adopted by the United Nations General Assembly on 9 December 1948 during the 3rd session of the United Nations General Assembly. Try to find out a little bit more about the Genocide Convention, and as I told you that India is a signatory and also ratified the convention as well. The third most important issue is with regard to BSF. We recently had the investiture ceremony of the BSF. The BSF is one of the 5 central armed police forces under the control of the Ministry of Home Affairs, and it is a border guarding organization which guards the Indian borders with Pakistan and also Bangladesh, and it was formed in the wake of the Indo-Pakistani War of 1965 for ensuring security of India's borders and for concerned matters as well. Now, in India, the Central Armed Police Forces is a collective name of central police organizations under the Ministry of Home Affairs. These are technically paramilitary forces, formerly called as the Central Paramilitary Forces, and in 2011 the Indian government adopted a new term called as Central Armed Police Forces, dropping the term paramilitary, and these forces are responsible for the internal security and also to guard the borders of India, and they are classified into 3. So the Central Armed Police Forces are actually classified into 3 groups. They are the border guarding forces, which are the Assam Rifles, also called as the Sentinelese of the Northeast, the Border Security Force, the Indo-Tibetan Border Force, the Sahastra Seema Bal, the Special Task Force called as National Security Guard, and the Forces for Internal Security, that is the Central Industrial Security Force, CRPF. So the Central Industrial Security Force has recently given the security of the new Parliament building after a security lapse very recently during I think the budget session of the Parliament. And the next one is Cyclone Remal. So what exactly does the name Remal mean? It means sand in Arabic, and it was chosen by Oman. Now, according to the standard convention of naming of tropical cyclones in the region, we know that there are regional naming organizations or under the WMO, which is an organization of the United Nations. Let's go into that a little more detail. So the name was chosen by Oman now according to the standard convention of naming of tropical cyclones in the region, and this practice raises the question, actually, why is Oman giving the name for a cyclone in Bay of Bengal? Now, Remal is a cyclone in the Bay of Bengal region, and it is affecting Kolkata along with Odisha as well, and the World Meteorological Organization now, which is a United Nations agency, which was it has 185 members, and the Social and Economic Commission of Asia and Pacific, or ESCAP, which is a regional commission under the United Nations Economic and Social Council, collaborated to boost activity in Asia and Far East and to enhance cyclone warning and disaster mitigation in the North Indian region. The WMO established a panel of tropical cyclones in the year 1972. So initially there were very less members on this panel of tropical cyclones, like only 8 countries. That was Bangladesh, India. So India was a member, Maldives, Myanmar, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Oman and Thailand. During 2008 session, Oman became a member and started to name tropical cyclones in the Bay of Bengal and the Arabian Sea. After gathering recommendation from each member, the names are finalized. And so in 2018, the BTC expanded to include Iran, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE and Yemen. And in 2020, a new list of 169 cyclone names from 13 countries each from 13 countries were released. And this currently name cyclone of Rimal was given by Oman during the 2018 meeting. So the next most important issue with regard to cyclones itself is what exactly is a cyclone. Now, cyclone is a meteorological phenomena. There are 2 types of cyclone: tropical and temperate. And tropical cyclones happen in the doldrum region, or within the tropical zone, I should say. They are a center, they are called as depressions. They are centers of low pressure, atmospheric pressure, where the winds blow outward from the center of the region, and they blow counterclockwise in the northern hemisphere and clockwise in the southern hemisphere. Tropical cyclones are strong as long as they are located in the ocean, because the ocean water forms an engine or a fuel for the tropical cyclone, and once they come onto the land and make the landform, their energy dissipates and therefore they become weak and stop. So the cyclones are characterized by inward spiraling winds rotating over a zone of low pressure, and cyclogenesis is a process of formation of cyclone and also intensification. Let me tell you, the word cyclone is derived from a Greek word cyclos, meaning coils of snake, and cyclones are called as spinning storms because they rotate around the low pressure that is called as the eye of the pressure of the cyclone. Now the cyclone is formed when warm moist air rises up over the ocean. As the warm moist air rises up, there is a formation of a low pressure. Now the low pressure is filled up by the high pressure air from the surroundings. Again, the next batch of cool air warms up and again rises up. This happens in a cyclic formation. This continuous cycle of rising of warm light air, then the cold air filling up the gap, again warming up and rising, keeps forming keeps a cycle, and therefore forms like a tropical cyclone, which is a storm of very heavy rains and also high very fast winds as well. So as I told you, the ocean forms the engine of the cyclone. The next most important issue is with regard to naming of the cyclone. So who exactly does names the cyclone? There are 6 regional specialized meteorological centers and 5 regional tropical cyclone warning centers that are mandated to issue advisories and naming of the tropical cyclones. The tropical cyclones forming over the Indian or over the ocean basins are named by these concerned regional specialized meteorological centers and also the tropical cyclone warning centers as well. Let me tell you, our own very IMD is one of the 6 regional specialized meteorological center for providing tropical cyclone and storm surge advisories to 13 member countries, which include Bangladesh, India, Iran, Maldives, Myanmar, Oman, Pakistan, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Sri Lanka, Thailand, UAE and Yemen. And the regional specialized meteorological center in New Delhi is mandated to name the tropical cyclones developing over the North Indian region ocean in the Bay of Bengal and also Arabian Sea. And the 8th one is, how exactly and on what is the criteria that the names of the tropical cyclone are actually chosen? So this has already been a mains question, and so first of all, it should ensure that the proposed name is neutral regarding politics and political figures. They should be neutral with regard to religious beliefs, cultures, genders. They do not offend any population group worldwide. They are not excessively rude or cruel. They are short, easy to pronounce and not offensive to any PTC member. It is a maximum of 8 letters long, and it comes with pronunciation and a voice recording as well, and it is unique, that is it should not have been used before or either will not be used later. So they are all one-time names that are given. The next most important thing is about anticyclone. Anticyclone is a weather phenomena that is defined by a large scale circulation of wind, very much wider and bigger than cyclone, but with a high pressure center rather than a low pressure center in a tropical cyclone. There are descending winds. They are clockwise in the northern hemisphere and counterclockwise in the southern hemisphere. Anticyclones are often regions of clear skies. Now the cyclones are regions of heavy rainfall and faster winds, but these are regions of clear skies, sunny weather in the summer, and often at the times of the day cloudy and foggy weather, especially when the ground is wet or over snowy conditions. So winter anticyclones produce colder than average temperatures at the surface, particularly if the sky remains clear. So these are a few brief points about anticyclones. Find out more about them. And the last issue is about the India-Middle East Europe Economic Corridor. It is a planned economic corridor that aims to bolster economic development in between Asia, Persian Gulf and the Europe. The corridor was proposed to form between India, Europe through UAE, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Israel and Greece. It is not implemented as yet. It was only decided in September 2023 during the G20 summit in India, when a MOU was signed for this in the G20 meeting at New Delhi summit, including the governments of India, US, UAE, Saudi Arabia, France, Germany, Italy and European Union. So these are the most important issues for day 6, that's May 25th, for your prelims 2025. I hope this was really helpful to you all. If you did, please do like, share and subscribe, and don't forget to comment at the end of the video, and I shall see you tomorrow in another new set of important points for your prelims 2025. Until then, it's very happy learning.